No spoilers ahead.
I'm Jonny. Welcome to my house of horrors. My love affair with zombies started with a little movie called Dawn of the Dead, made by a guy called George, who some people think pioneered the entire zombie subgenre. I am one of those people. Rest in peace, George. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I try to keep my reviews balanced. But every so often, a movie comes along that makes finding that balance impossible. When I think about how much these people are paid, and how much I had to pay to find out they didn't deserve what they were paid, it makes me angry. And the only thing that makes me feel better is a big, cold, homemade mashup of sour grapes, sarcasm, and the truth as I see it. So this is my review of a film about a ravenous pack of brain-dead, covetous, snarling creatures who have to fight a bunch of zombies so they can get some money.
The plot.
The movie starts when a military convoy manages to smash directly into the only other vehicle for miles in the middle of a dark desert, sending 10 cars worth of fire an impossible distance into the air. The ultra-realistic accident releases a zombie, who's so fantastically capable, it dodges thousands of bullets and tears an entire crew of highly trained killers apart in a matter of seconds. And then it features in a scene stolen from American Werewolf in London before it heads off to Las Vegas for the weekend. We're then treated to nearly 6 minutes worth of opening credits stolen from the movie Zombieland. It's fast-paced and action-packed, and if the movie stopped immediately after these credits, I'm guessing my knuckles wouldn't have been as white when I was writing this review. And a few years later, we meet Big Dave Bautista, who I love from all kinds of movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy and the other Guardians of the Galaxy. A casino owner who's as convincing a character as Amber Heard asks Dave Bautista to help him retrieve $200 million from a vault in his casino before the government drops a nuclear bomb on the now thriving zombie colony. And if that all sounds excessive, you are in for a treat, because it's probably the most subtle aspect of the entire story. Big Dave puts together a crew of mercenaries to venture into the quarantined colony in hopes of earning themselves some of that sweet-ass cash. I'd go into more detail about the rest of the cast, but I don't need to. They're the same diverse, boring, attractive collection of unknown actors that have appeared in every other movie you've seen in the last 5 years. And you're gonna remember them as much as you have all the other ones. And despite being offered literally any type of equipment they needed, every single one of them chooses fashion over function, leaving their arms fully exposed, even though they all know zombies really like biting stuff. Amongst the team is an expert safecracker. And why do they need a safecracker when they're retrieving the money for the owner of the safe? I don't know. Big Dave Bautista's got a daughter named Kate, who's tiny and skinny and not trained for fighting in any way. She hooks the crew up with Lily, who smuggles people into the zombie enclosure for cash, as I'm sure there's a high demand for that service. Tiny and skinny and not trained for fighting in any way, Kate learns somebody she knows has been smuggled into the enclosure. So after she throws a tantrum, she walks all over Big Dave Bautista, the star of the movie, the leader of the team, her father, and a person 3 times her size. And after she's robbed him of all of his credibility, she forces the team to bring her along. Lily, the expert smuggler, earns the thousands she charges everybody by opening one of the containers and walking through it. She sure made it look easy on camera, but these kinds of stunts take months of intense training behind the scenes, and it really shows. What a treat it was watching her Tom Cruise-like skills on display. Once inside, she shoots another cartoon character bad guy security guard so he can be offered to the zombies, because the zombies in this movie have established a bartering system. The queen of the zombies orders him taken inside, where her hubby Zeus bites him, converting him into one of their own, instead of just eating him. And with that out of the way, Lily leads everyone directly into a scene stolen from I Am Legend. And I imagine that enclosed room full of rotten bodies must have smelled incredible in the Nevada heat, but nobody so much as flares a nostril. They highlight a path through the zombies using glow sticks. And when forgettable female warrior number 5 gets all bitchy with Martin, he sends her off in the wrong direction as retribution. And after fighting off dozens of zombies by herself while everyone else worries about their hair, she eventually gets bitten. which is heartbreaking because of the close connection we've formed with whatever her name was. But once they're inside the casino, Big Dave Bautista gets the power turned on, the helicopter pilot that I'm not acknowledging heads to the roof, and the safecracker gets to cracking the safe. Martin and Lily the smuggler go outside to keep guard. While they're out there guarding stuff, Lily threatens him repeatedly because writers who are shitty think that's how you make female characters look strong. As an unexpected treat, the zombie queen comes out to keep her guests entertained with her best Bruce Lee impersonation. So Martin cuts her head off because cultural appropriation really upsets him. And when her zombie boyfriend finds her headless body and brings it inside, we learn the queen was pregnant and the child is dead.
Which would be totally fine given they're a pair of zombies, right? Like, Army of the Dead? They're I don't know what's going on.
And this makes the big, bad alpha zombie Zeus so upset, he cries.
We'll talk about this part later.
After a micro session with his therapist, Zeus sends all the zombies into the casino after the remaining cast of talented, young, interesting actors. And I, for one, am seriously worried about their well-being. And at the same time, the government announces it's decided to drop the nuclear bomb a day early because, whatever, chill out. Nuclear bombs aren't an exact science.
In movie terms, this is referred to as the ticking clock, and it's a tool to help crank up the tension. But in this movie, it has the opposite effect because it reminds you you've still got 45 stupid minutes left.
And then the highly sought-after, technical genius of a safecracker finally cracks the ultra-modern, impossible-to-crack safe. If I was outside the vault with him, I'd be all like,
"Just go ahead, I got you. Hurry up, though, hurry up." I don't want to distract you, but you're the expert safecracker, right? You're the guy they paid to come crack this ultra-modern, impenetrable safe. And all you're doing is putting your ear up against it. Are you fucking kidding me? They made you European and everything to add to the illusion of expertise, and you're putting your fucking ear up against it like an old fucking James Cagney movie. So you're getting the same share that I'm getting, and you're basically a fucking $10 used stethoscope from eBay. How the fuck are we supposed to get all of that out of here? Oh, I know. Let's get Mr. European Safe Guy to blow it all the way down the hall and out to the helicopter with a fucking straw.
And as soon as she realizes the safe's cracked, tiny and skinny and not trained for fighting in any way, Kate decides now's the best time to go looking for her friend. Even though there's a nuclear bomb coming and she's no idea where her friend is, and there's no logical reason she'd still be alive. And this forces Big Dave Bautista to have to go after her. And as soon as they head off, Ana de la Reguera's character gets fantastically killed. Well done, tiny and skinny and not trained for fighting in any way, Kate. You're killing more cast members than the zombies are. And in a surprise twist that's not actually surprising or a twist, really, Martin decides to trap the entire group in the basement on his way out. Why did he do that, you ask?
Because they only really wanted the zombie head, so they could make a zombie army for the government, who apparently couldn't do that for themselves, but a casino owner certainly could. And because the potential earnings from the zombie army are greater than the $200 million he sent everybody in to get for him, that money gets thrown away, and everybody he sent in has to my head hurts.
And if that didn't angry up your blood enough, it turns out he didn't even have the head. And he gets killed immediately by a zombie tiger in a scene they stole from The Revenant. As everyone's trying to escape, this fucking guy, whom I haven't acknowledged either because all he does is get angry at everyone and flex his arms, tries fighting Zeus. But Zeus kicks his angry ass. And in response, the safecracker, who's done nothing but squeal like a child until now, valiantly sacrifices himself to save a a guy who treated him like dog shit the entire movie. And when Big Dave Bautista catches up with tiny and skinny and not trained for fighting in any way Kate, she is plugging countless fast-moving zombies right between the eyes with every shot. Now that she's had 4 minutes practice in a dark, high-stress environment, and if Big Dave's as surprised as we are, he sure isn't showing it with his acting. Or maybe he is. The remaining idiots get to the roof to reenact the ending of Aliens. And then Zeus flies an impossible distance through the air into the helicopter, and then the helicopter does things that helicopters can't do before the nuclear bomb knocks it on its ass. And after the longest I'm dying goodbye scene I have ever watched, Dave Bautista growls like a tiger. So tiny and skinny and not trained for fighting in any way Kate shoots him perfectly between the eyes, of course, even though the gun's 3 times the weight of her upper body. The movie ends as sensibly as it began when this fucking guy survives a nuclear blast and walks through nuclear fallout with money. And despite being bitten, he makes it far enough away on foot to find a place that isn't even aware there's been a nuclear explosion. Which means he fought off the zombie virus for 3 weeks, or he walked at 71 miles an hour. And I'll let you decide which one makes the most sense.
And there you have it, the plot for Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder's pet project. It was his story, he wrote the screenplay, he produced it, he directed it, he operated the B-roll camera, and I believe he was also the cinematographer. Now why did he do all of these things in one movie, you ask? Collectively, Zack's movies have earned over $3 billion worldwide. And when your name is attached to figures like that, your head goes all fucked. Let's take a look at why Army of the Dead bites in all the wrong ways.
The good bits.
Even if the idea wasn't their own, the opening credit sequence was brilliant. A zombie movie set in Las Vegas with Elvis and a $90 million budget had instant classic written all over it. And if you haven't been there, Vegas isn't just casinos. It's an endless source of set pieces and ready-made backdrops that could have pumped new blood into the veins of a subgenre that bled out years ago. The gore was sumptuous. And the soundtrack was a constant stream of classic hits that would have accented the story perfectly.
That's if it had a story.
The shite bits.
Plot holes in horror movies go hand in hand, and normally I'm happy to look past them in order to enjoy the blood and the guts and the ghosts, and in this case, the zombies. But Army of the Dead was nothing but plot holes. Why did they have to break into the safe? That was the entire story goal, but Tanaka could have given them the combination. It's his vault. And oh yeah, it wasn't the whole story goal because he only wanted the zombie head. So did he secretly have some beef with Big Dave Bautista? Why send him on a wild zombie goose chase otherwise? And when the Queen Zombie's head came off, blood spurted out. So her heart's beating? She's an alive zombie? And how exactly were they going to bring $200 million in cash back with them? A US bill weighs about a gram. Get your calculator out and add that one up.
And could anybody please tell me how the hell robot zombies come into existence in the first place? Seriously, think about that one.
And why are all these plot holes such a big deal?
Suspension of disbelief.
Every time you read a book or watch a movie, you make an agreement with yourself not to think critically or logically about what you're watching. In other words, you let yourself believe that what you're watching is true. If we couldn't suspend our disbelief, movies wouldn't exist. And if the movie you're watching is loaded with inconsistencies, your brain will call bullshit and the fun will be done.
So let's say you're able to summon the strength that I do not have to ignore all these things so you can just enjoy a good old-fashioned zombie flick.
Zombies are basically us, minus the insecurities and self-doubt. They don't pressure themselves to do better in life, they don't care about appearances, and they could care less what other people think of them. And we're fascinated by them because they represent what we could be if we woke up one morning and decided to hell with all this fucking civilized behavior. I'm gonna do whatever I want.
So well done, Zack Snyder. By rehumanizing these zombies, you've proved you don't have a clue what zombies are. It's like making a werewolf movie about a guy that transforms into a bouquet of flowers every full moon.
And if all this wasn't enough, every character in this movie's forgettable. There's no clear protagonist to root for. He used the Of the Dead name, but the zombies aren't zombies. There's no conflict, which means there's no tension. And when there's no tension, you don't have a movie.
And since you decided to fill every available role in the making of this movie, you've got nobody but yourself to blame.
The the verdict.
So, if you haven't seen Army of the... I think you know where I stand on this one already. If all this blatant negativity brought you down as much as it did me, come check out my next review. I'm doing a movie I absolutely love. You got my word on it. Until next time, folks. It's me, Jonny, from that thing you just watched. If you enjoyed it, go down there and smash me in the face to subscribe. And if you want to watch another thing, there's one right there. Do it!